Hey, how are you guys doing? It's an amazing Monday afternoon, right? It is Monday afternoon. My name is Donna St. Louis, and one of the questions that I'm asked a lot is how I took my struggling speaking business from struggling to successful. Like, how did I make the transition from, I'm not getting booked, I'm not getting gigs, and going from chasing the gig? Like, how did that happen? How do you go from a struggling business to a business that's actually doing something, that's making a profit, that's turning a profit? And I'm going to give you guys a couple of things. Some of it is going to be about your mindset, and other is going to be very specific and strategic things that you need to do. Hey, Michael. Hey, Donna. How are you guys doing? So I'm going to give you 5 things that you need to look at. And I'm going to give you a couple of bonus elements, which are really going to be about the mindset and having an abundance mindset, as well as some of the other things that you really want to make sure that you're aware of. So that way, because if you're not aware of what's not right in your business, then correcting them is going to be all but impossible. And the other question I get asked is, so why are there so few speakers and experts that actually create profits, like create a profitable business? That's another big one. So how did I take mine from struggling to successful? How do you go? Why are so many speakers and experts actually struggling in their business? And how do you get off the feast and famine roller coaster and actually start having a profitable business? So I'm going to cover those 3 areas for you today. So it's going to be chock full of information. So what I would really suggest you do is grab a pen and paper, get ready to take some notes. And this really applies to whether you're a speaker or not a speaker, but it's really about how do you get your business from I'm not making any money or doing anything to getting to where you need to be. So who am I? My name is Donna St. Louis. I am the CEO of highprofitzone.com. I'm also an international keynote speaker. I speak on persuasion and influence, and specifically I talk about the 7 triggers to yes. As a speaker, I profile clients. So not only do I speak on the 7 triggers to yes, and this is important for later, that's why I'm sharing it with you. I speak on the 7 triggers to yes, but then I also help clients profile their customers, figure out how to communicate with their customers more effectively so they can close deals faster. I help leaders identify what people's strengths are using those triggers so that way they can leverage those triggers and giving people the type of work that really matters to them. That's my speaking business side, right? But then I have this whole high profit zone, which is an entrepreneurial business. It's my business. And specifically, and this is again, very specific, I work with experts who want to turn their expertise into a high profit business. Okay. So that kind of gives you an idea. This is going to be really important later because you're going to see how I is very specific and why that specificity matters later. So let's start with the first. Why are there so few speakers and experts actually creating a profitable business? Now, first of all, there is a really, really big difference between getting an engagement that is, let's say, $10,000 or $100,000 or whatever your business is, and the profits that come from that. I know people who are tech geniuses, like they are really, really, really smart in the tech arena. They have laid it down. And they get these projects that are $50,000, $100,000 projects, and yet and still their business probably only turns a 10%, if they're lucky, profit, right? Your profit is the amount of money. So we're always talking about what your profit margin is. So if your profit margin is 20%, that means out of that $100,000 deal, that 20% of that is actual profit, spendable money that you can either reinvest in your business or whatever it is that you're doing with your profit margin. We're talking about specifically creating a profit. And there are so few speakers that actually get a profit from what they're doing. And here's the reason that their profits they're not profitable, because their focus is off. That's the first thing. How you doing, Sean? So the first reason, and I'm going to have 5 of these for you. So the first reason is that their focus is off. They're focused on speaking, and that's it, which means they're chasing the gig. They're running after the next dollar. They're hoping and praying that somebody's going to call them. And they hope that all their efforts in picking up the phone, that those efforts are going to lead to yet another gig. So all they're doing is chasing gig after gig after gig after gig. The problem, that makes your business very tactical. The problem with that particular tactic of going, that's not even a strategy, that's just a tactic, is let's say something actually happens to you, anything, and you can't get on that stage for whatever reason. You now have no residual recurring income. You are out of the game. You have just, that's it. So you don't have a business. You are just going from contract to contract to contract. You have nothing that's going to sustain you for quarter over quarter. You really need to be looking at recurring residual income, and how do you create that recurring residual income that will sustain you when you don't get an engagement. Business owners recognize that speaking is a very profitable way to market. That's what business owners recognize. So when I get people who call me and I say, okay, so what do you want to talk about? And they say, I want to help people get over hurdles. And I'm like, fantastic. Which hurdle? Which industry? What area? Be specific. What are you talking about? So there are people that I know that are absolutely brilliant business owners who speak, and they get paid as a speaker, but they recognize that what they are delivering on the stage is just enough content, valuable content, that people can recognize them as the expert. They can walk away with nuggets of information that are really valuable, but that expert standing on the stage has so much more to deliver that they should come back to that expert for more information. The thing that most speakers do wrong on stage, and I just talked to someone about this the other day, is that they feel like if they don't go on stage and share everything, now these are not just my motivational speakers, now I'm talking about my experts who speak, is that they want to go on stage and share everything. I used to be guilty of this. So you go on stage and you're like, no, I'm going to share with you the 12 parts of this and the 13 parts of that, or the 15 parts of this. I just talked to a lady the other day and she said that she had 15 things that she was going to share in a 45-minute speech. And I said, why? And she said, because I want to serve my audience well. Here's the thing. I want you to imagine for a moment that I come to your house and I ask you and I tell you I'm thirsty. And so you go, okay, great. I have water. Great. I'll have a glass of water. Do you think you're serving me better by making me drink from a water hose, a fire hose, than a glass? No, you serve me better by giving me water in a glass, something that I can consume, something that's going to refresh me, as compared to something that you're just giving me so much of, I can't handle it, and it's actually painful. What a lot of speakers do, especially if they're experts, because they think this is all about speaking, they go on stage and they literally fire hose their audience with content. And they go, if I don't give out all this content, that they won't find value. No, the problem is that you have not identified the value in your content. So you're just putting it all out there in hopes that somebody somewhere will find something in there. This is wrong. Your goal is to determine the one thing that you're going to share with your audience that's absolutely positively valuable, that's really valuable, and then the results of that value. See, where they really get stuck, and this is how they go down this rabbit hole. Where they get stuck is they say, okay, I'll use mine. I'm going to talk about the 7 triggers to yes. Now, instead of saying, I'm going to tell you about the 7 triggers, and then I'm going to tell you how to write for the triggers, and I'm going to tell you how to communicate for the triggers, and how to profile for the triggers, and read for the triggers, and pick your next best customer for the triggers. That's a whole lot. Like, there's no way I could deliver that in a 45-minute speech. What I need to communicate is the results of learning the 7 triggers. As a result of learning the triggers, you will discover how to profile not only yourself and keep other people from triggering you. You will also be able to identify the areas that you are the strongest, so you work in your areas where you're going to be successful. You also recognize that when you understand the triggers, that there's a certain way to communicate to other people based on their triggers, which means you can also get the high level of how to profile someone. These are the results of me teaching one thing. Most people don't know how to communicate in terms of results. And so what they do instead is they communicate in terms of process. And so what they literally do is get on stage and they just share a process after process after process after process, because they think that by sharing all these processes that people are going to feel like they got value. People will not feel refreshed. They will not feel like they got value. They'll feel like they were waterboarded with content. And so because you don't recognize that being on the platform, because those people who are struggling in their business don't recognize that being on the platform, for example, is an opportunity for them to market themselves and share value. Because experts who do contracts don't recognize that there is more value in doing and breaking down things and breaking their contracts down into versions, like this is version 1, this is version 2, this is version 3, that they end up reducing their profit margins to almost nothing. I've seen clients that literally these people are IT technical contractors, and they throw everything plus the kitchen sink in what they're sharing. And I'm like, it's too much. You've given entirely too much information, and you're offering too much stuff. And because they're offering so much stuff, their business is not profitable. And what they end up doing, because they've lost all the profits on that first one, they go chasing after the next gig. And that's all they're doing. They're chasing from one gig to the next. The next thing that makes you not successful is they don't recognize that there is an ideal client, and they really don't want to waste their time on the other clients. There are 5 different types of clients that you should look for. The first one is a hell no. This person doesn't care what you're selling. They don't want to do anything that's new. I don't care what you're selling. If it's not tried and true, been there, done that, they're not interested. So if you have something sexy and new, they're out. They're not interested in sexy and new. They just want tried, true, same old, same old. Then number 2, you have people who are quite honestly terrified of change. Now, they're very much like the first one, but at least they'll listen to you and then they'll say no. That's the difference. The third one is the person who says the biggest time waster of all. They'll say, I need to see more information. So they'll just keep telling you, can you send me more information? Can you send me more information? Can you send me more information? Well, maybe if you change your prices. Well, maybe if you change what you're offering. Well, maybe, and they'll just keep doing that to you. And because you're not clear on what your area of expertise is and who your ideal client is, you'll keep morphing to be whatever it is that they want you to be. That is going to waste your time, and it's going to completely decrease your profits. Plus, you're going to spend so much time with these 3 clients because you're going to spend all your time trying to convince them that you are the one. No, let them go. Just accept that you're not the one and move on. It is okay to let them go. And I know a lot of people go, but Donna, I'm not making any money. I have somebody who called me, so it's got to be the one. Trust me when I tell you, 80% of the time, you're going to be wasting your time on those people. Your ideal clients are the people who are consummate learners, who are like, you know what? You got something hot, new. I've never heard of it. I'm willing to listen. And the other person who's going, you know what? I'm all in. Let's just do this. What are we waiting for? I'm the decision maker. I called you because I had already made a decision. Those are the 2 people you're going with. Most of the people that I talk to on the phone, quite honestly, if they say, well, maybe if you tell me more and convince me, or if we can sit down and talk about your deep, detailed process on how everything gets done, we're not talking about a process until after you sign on the dotted line. So why do we need to talk about process? We're not talking about process. You really need it. We'll talk about benefits. We'll talk about value. We're not going to talk about profits. Process. So what you really want to do is you want to make sure that you can identify those top 2 clients and spend your time on them, and the other people, don't waste your time, because they are time wasters. They really, really are. The amount of time that you spent on the first 3 will cost you so much that you're not spending time on those last 2 that are really interested. Then the number 3 reason why people struggle in their business is because they're not creating that recurring residual income. And that goes back to the first one. Hey, Teresa, that goes back to the first one. So because they're not creating that recurring residual income, they are constantly hustling for the next gig. This is one of the reasons why people who come to my retreats, I'm usually talking to people who are business owners who they've already been somewhat successful in their business, and they're trying to get to the next level of their business, rather than people who are just starting out. And the reason is because people who are just starting out, they really need to recognize there's some of the things like they only want to chase a gig. If you're only chasing a gig, you're probably not my ideal client. I'm working with people who are looking for recurring residual income. How do I make money every single month? How do I create payment plans that keep money coming in all the time? How do I make the investments in my business that create that residual income. And then because now I have that residual income, how do I hire people to take some of the things off the plate that I shouldn't be doing so I can have stuff on my plate that I should be doing? And again, creating that recurring residual income. You know, I have a contract that's coming up, and I was just talking to the client today. And one of the things that we talked about today was, instead of just offering a book, or instead of just offering a breakout session or something like that, I said, I have 52 videos that your team can watch for the year. Here's how much it costs for licenses for 100 as compared to 200 as compared to 500, right? And I'm like, and you could do that on a monthly basis, or you could do this one-time payment plan. And then it automatically renews at the end of a year. Recurring residual income. That's where you want to get to. You want to make sure you have that. That is the thing that covers your baseline. And then you can use the other for profits. And then after a while, they'll flip where what you're doing for profits is different, but you got to get there. Right now, people aren't thinking about recurring residual income. They're just worried about, let me get a gig. That's it. But if you have not strategized beyond the tactic of getting a gig, once you get the gig, you won't know what to do to create recurring residual income. So it has to be a strategy and not just a tactic of getting the gig. Once you get the gig, that's when we should be having a conversation about, okay, I got the gig. How do I turn this event, this speech, this contract into something ongoing? So I'll tell you in terms of a technical person. So from having a technical company, we had a contract, for example, to do business intelligence. So here it is, we have a $10 million business intelligence contract, but then beyond that contract, we needed recurring residual income. So we have training for their people that we come in and do training once every 6 months or once a quarter. We had project management services that we could offer in regards to getting the outputs, the reporting, and all the other stuff from the business intelligence software that we put in. So we have people go out and do different projects for them. We had ongoing support, right? So those are just things that we'd have that were extra, that after the contract, the basic contract was purchased, that they had these things that were recurring residual income. We wanted to have those. Those were the things that we fought for, probably harder than we fought for the contract. Quite honestly, if a contract had no chances of giving us recurring residual income, we were less interested. We were definitely more interested in the ones that were always going to give us recurring residual income and creating a succession of that happening, right? Because of course we did version 1, and version 1 of the software is out there, and now we're doing recurring residual income. While we're doing recurring residual income work with them, we're looking at how can we implement version 2. It's the same exact thing, by the way, when you're a speaker, when you're going after anything. I have a speaking engagement. How is it that I can ensure, does it make sense for your team to have this ongoing content for the year so it has a real impact beyond a 45-minute speech? If they say no, it's not that I'm going to turn down the engagement, but I'm less interested in that one than in the one that has a recurring residual income. And every business owner looks for this hard. This is a big deal to their profit margin and their bottom line. And then number 4 is people who are business owners get coaching. I have someone who coaches me on sales all the time. Like, we constantly are talking on sales. And so real business owners recognize the value. That's why you have companies like, I think it's called Vantage or something like that, where CEOs go to get coaching, right? Or young presidents organization. There is tons of associations that people are a part of because they recognize that ongoing education within their industry is critical. So real business owners go above and beyond to get coaching in areas which they're going, look, I'm not an expert. I really want a blueprint. I really want the step-by-step. I really want a coach to help me deliver the ROI. And they expect to get it. That's the thing. They don't expect the coach to give them ROI. They expect the coach to give them the content. They expect for themselves to create the ROI from the new information. So I'll use one of my clients, John Ramstead. John Ramstead, and he's a client of mine. We sat down, we worked on his book. And then, so we sat down and said, what does that book look like? What does your keynote look like? How do we tie this entire brand together? We tied it all together. And then he went out and said, now that I know how to do a craveable keynote, thank you for coaching me on that. He went out and used what I taught him to create a message that his ideal client couldn't resist. And of course, they ended up booking him 4 more times. When we sat down and did his book, he didn't sit there and then say, now, Donna, you have to write the book and tell me how to make money from it. He said, this is the book. This is what I'm writing. This is how I put it in order. Now he's writing the book and he is putting things in place in order for him. So he will go and get his ROI. That is the thing. People who are really successful tend to say, I just learned this. How am I going to use it right now to deliver an ROI? I did a video a couple of weeks ago and I said, how do you make money? How do you make money right now really, really fast so you can invest in what you want? This one young lady named Lena called me and Lena said, I heard what you said. Now I want to talk about how I can do that because I want to do it now. That's an action taker. That type of action taker will always be successful because they recognize this is a strategy to make money right now. And then she's going to use that money to invest back in her business. So, right, it's how do you do that? So those are the type of smart ways that smart business owners think. They're not just chasing a gig. They're thinking, how do I use this information that I just got to create a return on investment for myself in the way that works best for me? So that's the one thing you want to do. Now, some of these people that I've mentioned, just FYI, they've come to the High Profit Zone retreat because this is what we do. We take you for 4 weeks or 6 weeks if you're on platinum, and we coach you for that entire time to build your blueprint. And then after you've built your blueprint, you come to the mansion. This time we're doing the mansion June 9th through 13th, where only 8 entrepreneurs stay on site in the mansion and you justify your blueprint. You're working with other people who are experts in their field. They have definite feedback. They're going to help you nail this down. I mean, we have people who are marketing officers. We have people who are executive officers. We have people who are operations officers that show up and they're giving their feedback as they're building their business, right? And so we have people who are building their business. We have people who currently have a business that want to add a leg to it. And the reason it works is because they recognize the value of getting their expertise and then taking that expertise and going, challenge me to make it better. They're not afraid of feedback. They want people to challenge them to make it better. I love those people who go, yeah, I like the cheerleading. Thanks. I did great. Now tell me how to improve this. That's what you're really looking for. So that big number 4 is all about making sure that you have that critical coaching, and then of course going and getting that ROI that you know that you can get, that you deserve. Now, before I get to number 5, I want to talk a little, and I'm sorry, somebody just pinged me. Okay, I got it. If you want to know more about the High Profit Zone, go to highprofitzone.com. If you're interested in the Mansion Retreat, you can check out the Mansion Retreat. I think we still have I think we extended it until the end of the month. It's if you put $1,000 down, you could do the 5 payment plan. I think we have 2 spots left. That's it. So I just want to share that. Now, before I get to number 5, let me tell you a little bit about mindset. None of what I say here means anything if you have a lack mindset, if you don't have an abundance mindset. So what do I mean by an abundance mindset? Some people say, they're like, I got $1,000 for a gig, and they close their hands so fast that they couldn't get what was actually coming to them. They couldn't get the remainder. They were just happy for what they got because they don't have an abundance mindset. An abundance mindset works like this. So you have 2 hands, right? And imagine that you use this hand always to give. You're always giving. You're always giving. You're always giving. And that's awesome. The problem is most people who give a lot have a hard time receiving. And so this hand is always closed. And so as that energy, as those gifts come out, they have no way to come back to you because your hand is closed. And so you really want to change your mindset. You want to be able to accept what people are giving you. And so while you want to be able to put out into the universe, you also want to be able to take back from it. And so you have to have an abundance mindset. You have to believe that you deserve more, that you deserve more than the basic. I don't care how you were raised or who you were raised by. I mean, I say this all the time. Guys, I grew up in the hood. Not the kind of hood, to the hood. There were riots literally going on right down the street, 2 blocks from, I could see the riots going on in Miami when I was little. We didn't have all of the amazing things that people have, right? But my mom used to take me out when I was little, and we'd get on a bus, and when she got a car, we'd take her car, and we'd go to rich neighborhoods, and we'd look at the houses. And, you know, there are houses, and I remember them having fans on the back porch, and I was like, wow, these people have fans outside. Our apartment has a fan in the window in the living room because that was our air conditioner, right? And so I didn't come from this abundance family where we had all of this stuff. But my mom had an abundance mindset. And because she had an abundance mindset, she changed her reality, and it also changed my reality. So even when I was struggling and I lived in my car and things were really, really hard, there was still a part of me that would not let me die. And it said, you know that you deserve more than this, and you can do better than this. And there are all these gifts that were put on this planet that you have yet to experience. What the hell are you doing? And in that moment, my mindset changed and said, what are you doing? You deserve so much better than this. And that mindset propelled me throughout my life from that moment forward. Even when I got really depressed, and I've gotten depressed in my life, even when I've gotten really depressed, it was because my mindset did not stay with the abundance mindset, and I had to turn that back on. If I can tell you this stuff all day, but if you don't think that you deserve better and more, and you don't deserve the gifts that have been put on this planet, then it doesn't matter. Turn this off. Don't press the hearts. Don't press the likes. Don't give me love. Don't do any of that. Go somewhere else, because this isn't going to help you. But if you recognize that you made it here out of the trillions of little tadpoles that could have made it here, you made it here. You did that when you didn't even have a brain in your head. Now you have a brain in your head, and there's only 7 billion people on this planet. You can still be the winner. What you have to do is recognize that you deserve it. You deserve the nicer things in life. You deserve the nicer everything. The nice fat bank account, the nice fat car, the people around you that you love and that love you. You deserve the gifts that you give, and you deserve to give the gifts that you have to others so they can enjoy them. You have to have an abundance mindset. Otherwise, none of this means anything. Here's the last thing. Smart entrepreneurs that really want to stop struggling in their business, they start with the end in mind. And that is not just money. They do figure out the one thing they can do now, but that one thing is a part of a bigger strategy, right? So it's not about going and doing, I'm going to go do a webinar right now. Why are you doing that webinar? What's the point of that webinar? How does that webinar tie into the bigger picture? The challenge that most struggling entrepreneurs struggle, really, the reason that they struggle is, hey, what's up, Rudy? Is that what they do is they go and they listen to this person on social media, and this person on social media tells them to do this, and this tactic. And then this person in marketing says, go do this marketing. And then this person over here in sales says, if you're going to sell, you have to sell exactly like this. And they give you these very specific tactics. The problem is that none of them tie together. None of them tie together. So I'll give you a perfect example. One of the tactics that I use in my business is giving out postcards. That makes sense for my business. But if you were working with Lighthouse for the Blind and you didn't have Braille postcards, then that would be one of the dumbest tactics that you could actually come up with, right? You have to make sure that the tactic makes sense for the strategy and the ideal client that you're working with. Most people get that totally wrong. So you're giving out postcards, but you're giving them to blind people and there is no Braille? Like, what are you thinking? So it's not about following my tactic. It's about having an overall strategy, and then the tactics that you do fall beneath that strategy. Tactics are the individual actions you take that build up to your overall strategy. Most people don't know the difference between those two. Oh my God. I hear that one all the time. Like, strategy versus tactic, they're the same thing. They're not the same thing. Strategy is overarching. Tactics are specific things that you do. So while the strategy might say you have to do 7 touch points, the tactic of a postcard is a tactic that I use. It's not a tactic for everyone. You have to do the tactic that works with your organization, with your team. So you want to be really, really, really super smart about what you are doing. It has to make sense. So that's all I have for you guys today. I really just want you to think about how can you do this. Again, if you're interested in High Profit Zone, go to highprofitzone.com. Set up a time to talk to me. Let's have a conversation if you're really interested. And if you guys are going, okay, well, who is her ideal client? My ideal client, quite honestly, it's not people who have excuses. It's not people who are naysayers. My ideal client are action takers who recognize that, and they don't say the following. This is what I never hear. I don't have the money. They say, I will figure it out. I hear that all the time. I'll figure it out. I get people who tell me straight up, I got $500 in my account. I'm going to figure this out. And then we literally sit down and we figure it out. They put a deposit and we figure out how they can make it happen. Because if they're that serious, they will figure out how to take the actions, right? So and that, by the way, that is very tactical. We come up with very specific tactics that they could do right now to make money right now. And it is a tactic. That's why I tell people, don't do this for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you're going to be chasing them. You're going to be chasing the dollar. And the goal is to make the dollar chase you. So anyway, if you're interested, let me know. Again, you have to be an action taker. You have to definitely understand business. You cannot come and talk about, so what is an ROI? That's not going to work. Preferably, it's someone who, if you had a job, you probably worked at director level or above, which meant that you were responsible for a budget. If you are not in corporate or you've never been in corporate, it's someone who has done the work of a business. In other words, I started a business, I made money from that business. Whether that money was consistent or not, you know what it takes to actually pick up the phone, make some phone calls, get a client, the work it takes to get a client. Even if you're struggling with sales, you're like, I know I have to sell. You're not sitting there going, I'll build it and they'll just show up. No, they won't. You actually have to do some sales. Like, it's those people, right? And so they get it. They're like, I know how to run a budget. I know how to manage people. I recognize that this isn't, willy-nilly. I had someone the other day is like, what do you mean I have to do homework? And I'm like, you're building a business. And I had another coach like, you're selling people on homework. I'm not selling people on homework. I'm selling them on the work that they have to do at home to build their business. You can call it what the hell you want. But the people who have done it and they continue to do it and they work on it are successful, because we're not building something that's going to last you a couple of days. We're building something that's going to last you a lifetime. It could possibly last you generations if you do it right. I'm building something that will definitely outlive me. I'm creating coaches within my organization that will carry this on. So there'll be people for generations that find financial freedom from corporate colonization. This isn't just about me getting a new car. This is about generations of people being able to live wherever they want to live, doing the things that they want to do while delivering expertise to other people who are craving it. That's what this is about. So anyway, if that's something you're interested in, all you got to do is go to highprofitzone.com. You're going to see something that says, have a conversation with Donna. It'll show you the pricing, all the other stuff. You could also do coffeewith.donna.com, and you can set up a time to have coffee with me if you want to have a conversation about coming to the High Profit Zone. The dates are June 9th through the 13th. We have 2 spots left, but I have 6 phone calls to make in regards to this. And if you're really interested, we might do a second overflow. I'm thinking about doing one in Colorado right before the NSA conference. It'll make the NSA conference way more valuable to you, or doing a second one in June. So anyway, if you're interested in the first one or you're interested in the overflow, give me a call, let me know, send me a PM, DM, whatever, and I'll see if I can help you. You guys have a fantastic day. I actually have a list, and I do mean a list of tactical crap I have to do today. Anyway, have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Bye.